Hey everybody, this is Brittany here from Surfing Waves of Light, and today I would like to make a video talking about addiction. So we have this cultural understanding in our society that addiction is this physiologic thing that occurs where someone is the victim to the substance or activity that they cannot do in a way that is balanced the way others can do so. I want to talk about the antidote to addiction, but before I get to that, I want to talk about the power of our thoughts. And so addiction of any form is always related to what we think about, because what we think about becomes our beliefs, over time quite unconscious beliefs, and what we believe in showcases our actions. So, whatever actions you're doing in the world, you can be sure that there is a thought or a belief in your mind that supports that action. For the body does nothing without the mind's direction. So when it comes to wanting to live a happier life, it is important to become aware that we must increase the time that our mind spends in peace. We must start to re-examine why we are doing the things that we are doing. What is the belief or thought that is attributing to some action in the world? And was that belief or thought put there before you were really conscious of what you were taking in? Like things we've learned in our childhood from our parents and the people around us when we were in the brainwave state where we were just absorbing everything around us. So when it comes to working on anything that is wrong, it is always important that we examine our thoughts and beliefs. For in the changing of our thoughts and beliefs, our actions will change in the physical reality. I want to talk about 3 different tools that I use when it comes to examining my mind and looking at my thoughts and beliefs and diving into different understandings of life that bring me lots of joy, as opposed to many of the ones I've been cultured through my culture ingrained with, that taught me lots of beliefs that increased my suffering. So these techniques all help me to, in the moment or over time, have a real examination of what my thoughts are. There's a lot in there, so take your time with any kinds of these activities. Remember, you have been trained for however many number of years that you've been alive into this way of thinking, this less secure, fearful, reacting type thinking. So take your time when you start to examine your thoughts, and know that when you call on your guidance and you ask for help in whatever form you feel is comfortable and within your resonance, then through that calling for help and examination, that willingful examination, everything will be shown to you in the perfect time. So some of the tools that I really like to use for examining my thoughts and working on my mind so I can shift any addictions in my outside world, whether that's, addiction to TV, addiction to sleeping, addiction, and I use this word lightly. Sometimes I have misbalance of eating, I overeat, things like that. So instead of getting on myself about the physical, I start to really look at the thoughts behind it. So the first tool I want to talk about is the spot it method. The spot it method is basically easy phrases to remember to increase your secure and balanced thoughts and train the mind away from insecure and unpeaceful thoughts. So in my mind, that's kind of a great step 1, and that's really for people who want to work on their thoughts in the moment, want to start working on how to be more emotionally intelligent, how to respond as opposed to react when they get triggered. Not only looking at those triggers, but at some point being able to take a deep breath and not going unconsciously into any reactions that probably aren't even your own. You probably learned them from your parent or teacher or someone, so you don't have to be them anymore. So that's kind of my first tool, spot it. Very awesome. The second tool I would use is called A Year of Forgiveness. A Year of Forgiveness, this is a book by Louise Spalding, and really it emphasizes the importance of self-reflection and true forgiveness. It goes really deep on forgiveness, and while Spot It covers forgiveness sort of in a, without using the word forgiveness, it covers it in its own way. A Year of Forgiveness really expands on that concept and what true forgiveness means, because if you were raised in any kind of traditional religion, sometimes the forgiveness that they offer is a little bit different. So I just invite you through that book to explore some possible new definitions for what forgiveness really is, why it's so beneficial for us, and how we can use it in our day-to-day life. So again, super powerful tool, definitely a life changer. And then another tool that I use, and this one's a bit deeper, this is called A Course in Miracles. So like I said, this goes much deeper, and it really emphasizes trust in all that is happening around us, trusting that there's a perfection in every single thing that occurs, connection to each other. It talks a lot about how we believe we're in separation, and that's sort of one of the core things of what we're experiencing on earth is separation. We live in individual separate bodies, and we believe that our minds are not connected. So it really explores more of that, and of course unity. So it's really amazing book, life-shifting information. It's a meditative practice. It provides you with lessons, and it can be a little bit dense, because not even dense, but it's got a lot of different language, and it was written in iambic pentameter. That's like Shakespearean type. So it's interesting. It has its own effect. Even the way it's written is very interesting. It often causes me to reflect. I tend to go straight into meditation as soon as I read that book. But there's, again, life-shifting information in that. And then really, overall, these three materials that I use to work on my thoughts, they increase your connection to all things around you. These materials increase your connection to all things around you. It breaks down that separateness that we think we're experiencing, which is a lot of the reason we experience pain and suffering in this lifetime. And just so you all know, connection is the antidote for addiction of any kind. In our society, we have some addictions that are more acceptable than others. It's okay to have coffee and sugar. It's okay to eat certain foods, but we have other addictions we really shame, certain drugs, certain, activities that are really discriminated against. And one thing I've learned through my forgiveness practice and some research around this topic is that when we shame people for anything they're doing, it only pushes them further into darkness. People need to feel connected to other beings. And when we make things illegal or put it in the shadows, we are creating for them much more difficult circumstances to rise above. So, any sort of addiction, there's a lot of things we've been trained to be addicted to in this reality. We're addicted to fear. We're addicted to bad news. A lot of things that we spend much more time than, I would say, just an unbalanced amount of time thinking about, worrying about. So, again, the antidote of addiction is connection. And here are 3 tools that work on the thoughts in your mind, which will help you to increase your connection, helping you to release from your life things that no longer serve you, habits, thoughts, routines, relationships, or be able to communicate so you can have deeper healing within. each and every experience you have on planet Earth. Thank you so much for listening to my video on the topics I just mentioned. This person, this little painting figure here, this was made by my neighbor upstairs. I thought it looked like me, and I just wanted to be able to talk like a podcast today, so I hope you enjoyed this. I really enjoy this, and here's one he made of Greg, for those of you who know us. Pretty amazing, right? So, might be my podcast face. Sending love to all of you. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.